Hello everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about how to start homeschooling. So if you're new to homeschooling or you have been homeschooling for a short period of time and you want to improve on your current system, I hope to provide some insight today. I am a homeschool mom of 5 and I make educational videos for parents and teachers. And so a lot of you that have been homeschooling through the coronavirus, you now want to pull your kids out of school and you want to start homeschooling them in September. And you don't know what to do. You're a little bit lost. There's just so much information out there and you don't know how to really apply it to your lives. So today I'm going to be doing like a quick start to homeschooling video, and I hope that it is enriching for you. So first of all, let me commend you for your decision to start this homeschool journey. It is a wonderful thing to be the main influence in your child's life. You know, when you send your child out to school, someone else for 7 to 8 hours a day is pouring into your children. Someone else is their main influence. And you don't really get a resume from these teachers. You don't really know who these people are. You don't really know their inner state, and you don't really know what they're really pouring into your children. But you now, as the main influencer in your child's life, you're going to have a very unique opportunity, not only to bond, but you're going to be able to observe your child's character and academics. And when it starts getting out of track, you're going to be able to amend any issues that you see along the way. So it's a very unique opportunity. You're going to be able to pour into your children a lot of amazing values, knowledge, character building, and beautiful, priceless experiences that you will be able to build together. And so I really commend you on starting this journey. It's a very selfless decision to put everything aside and decide to educate your children. And homeschooling has so many benefits. And one of the benefits is that you're going to be providing a superior education than public school in a lot of instances if you provide a well-rounded curriculum. So homeschool students are known to score higher on standardized testing. You have to create a well-rounded program for each child. And so today we're going to talk about that. And so the first thing that you want to do is that you want to research what your homeschool state laws are. So every state has different laws, and some states require standardized testing, some states require portfolio reviews, some states require a certain amount of hours, some states require a certain number of subjects. So you have to really do your research and find out what is it that your state requires. Some states don't require anything at all. And so once you have this information, you're going to be able to know exactly what's needed from you and from your homeschool. And I'm going to be linking below in the description box a link to where you can learn what is required from your state. It's going to be a list, and it's going to list all of the states and what is required from each state. So once you have done that, now you're ready to move on to the next process. So if you intend to start in September, you want to write a letter of intent to your school district, letting them know that you're pulling your child out of school and that you intend to start homeschooling September 2020. And I'm going to provide a sample letter, a free sample letter that you can model after to write this letter. It's basically letting them know that you will be homeschooling, that your child won't be going to school in the next fall. And you want to do this ideally the latest by September 1st, before that, because you want to let them know that your child won't be attending, so that your child is not accounted for. So once you've done that, once you've done your research, and once you've let the school know that you intend to homeschool, now you could really start to delve into other things. So one of the first things I say to start doing is to join some type of group or network. There are so many homeschool groups that meet in libraries, that meet in parks, that meet in other places. It is really important because through these groups, you're going to be able to find fellowship, support, and guidance. I remember when I first started homeschooling and I joined a local homeschool group, and it was beautiful for us because I was able to learn so many things from these families, and these moms are so wonderful. They're willing to take you under their wing and teach you all the ways. So I was able to get an inside view of the curriculum. I was able to learn about the local resources that I have available to me in my community. I was able to learn how to set up a routine and how to make sure that each of my children were on track with their schoolwork. And it was really a enriching experience for me. So I really recommend that you do the same. And you can do this by just Googling what is available in your local communities. Google up homeschool groups in so-and-so area. You can look for Facebook groups. There's so many out there. You can look for Facebook groups that are by county, and you'll be able to find one for your county. And I really recommend one special thing. That when you go to these groups, that you try to become friends with at least one or two homeschool families. It is really important that in your homeschool journey, you have one or two homeschool families that you meet with on a monthly basis at least. This is for support, for fellowship, and for accountability. Homeschool can be a very isolating journey, and if you don't have support, then it's going to be so much harder. Also, your kids grow up and they get to grow up seeing the same friends. So it's really important to see if you can find one or two homeschool families that you become good friends with and that you can see on a monthly basis. The next step is your curriculum, how to choose curriculum. Now, curriculum could be a daunting thing because there's so much out there, and you're going to see that there's thousands of options. But depending on your family size, depending on your child's learning style, you want to develop a curriculum that's targeted for that child's particular need and particular ability. So it's really important that in the beginning you assess what type of learners you have: kinesthetic, visual learners, auditory learners. There's different types of learners. And I'm going to link down in the description box a way that you can assess your children. This is going to provide information so that you can gear the curriculum towards their particular learning style. For example, if you have a kinesthetic learner, someone who learns hands-on, then you may want to provide a math curriculum that uses manipulatives, like Math UC, for example. If you have an auditory learner, you might want to provide audiobooks or read aloud to them their lessons because they learn through hearing. And so knowing the type of learner that you have is going to help you create a particular program for that child that's going to be very suiting for their abilities. So once you've done that, then you want to start picking the curriculum that you want. And like I said, once you have established a connection with a group or with families, you can start looking at the inside views of some of these curriculums. So one book that I have loved and that I started off with is called The Well-Trained Mind. The Well-Trained Mind is using the classical approach, using the trivium, which is the natural way a child learns. And it's a great book because it tells you what to do for each grade, and it gives you the different types of curriculums that you can choose from. And it helps you create your own curriculum. I really recommend that book. It's helped me a ton. Another book that I recommend is Home Learning Year by Year. And this is another wonderful book. It's going to tell you from preschool to high school what children need to learn. And for example, so it'll tell you for kindergarten what they need to learn for math, for writing, for reading, for everything. All the way up to high school for all of the subjects. And then it tells you the different types of curriculums that you can use to be able to teach the children everything that they need to learn. It's going to be a wonderful way for you to create your own curriculum. And the third option that I have for you is Kathy Duffy's website. It's a wonderful website. It's been around since the 80s, and she reviews homeschool curriculum, showing the pros and the cons for the curriculum. She also has a list of the 102 top curriculum that she recommends, and I think it's a great resource for families. When I first started homeschooling, I went to the library and I started doing a lot of research about early childhood education. and learning how the mind works, how children learn, and everything like that. And I really do recommend that because it's really important that you do learn all of these things. Also, learning about the different methodologies. You can get books to learn about the different homeschooling methodologies. So there's the classical education, there's Charlotte Mason, there's Montessori, there's Waldorf, there's Reggio Emilia, there's so many. And you may want to delve into one of these paths. And you might just want to be a Charlotte Mason home, or you might just be a Montessorian. Or you might be like me, where I pick a little bit from each methodology and I incorporate it into my homeschool. So you just see what resonates with you and what resonates with your family. So once you have created a curriculum, then you want to move on to creating a schedule. It is very important that when you homeschool, you have a routine and you have a schedule. Homeschooling is not for the lazy and is not for the disorganized. I always say this because this is not something that you just buy a bunch of books and you just roll out of bed and you try to figure it out. It requires a lot of sacrifice, it requires a lot of order, and it requires organization. If you're not this way, this might not be the path for you, but you can change. If you don't change these ways, then you will do your kids a disservice if you pull them out of school and you don't have an organized routine for them. So it is very important that you do realize that homeschooling will take a lot of sacrifice, and that in order to provide a well-rounded curriculum, you need to have a system. Without a system, you will not be successful in homeschooling. So you want to design a schedule for your home. You want to design a plan for your homeschool. You want to plan the year out. And I can go more into depth about planning in another video, but definitely start off with having a schedule. When are you going to homeschool? Do you want to homeschool in the morning, do your core subjects in the morning, and then maybe do some electives and hands-on things in the afternoon? Or maybe you're not a morning person and you might want to just have a relaxed morning, go for a walk, do some exercise, and then do some work in the afternoon. I have found that children learn best in the morning. That is when their mind is the most fresh. And I do my work with the kids in the morning. All the core subjects, reading, writing, and math. And then in the afternoon, we do the electives, which are more like hands-on and with experiments and stuff like that. So you just have to figure out how is it that you're going to organize your way, and you want to have a routine and you want to have a space set out in your home for homeschooling. And it doesn't have to be a homeschool room. It can be your dining table. But as long as you have a dedicated area where you do your homeschool every single day, the mind is going to know, okay, when I sit down here at this time, I'm ready to learn. I'm ready. So you've designed your schedule. You want to design a plan as well. So you want to know how long it's going to take, how many lessons are in your math book. You want to know how long is it going to take for you to finish it for the end of the year. So you want to plan all of these things out. Let's move on to talk about all the other questions that I have written down here that you have for me. So you want to know how to socialize your children. And this is a valid concern. So socialization is something that is valid and that you should pay attention to. And in order to provide socialization for your kids, there's so many options as a homeschooler. There are many cooperatives. There's educational, there's recreational, there's fine arts co-ops, there's social co-ops. There's many co-ops. You just have to determine, according to the plan that you've determined for your homeschool, which co-op, what is the co-op that is going to meet your need. It might not be an educational co-op. You may already have everything you need educationally, but you might need some social opportunities. There are co-ops that provide socials and activities and events for children. There are also co-ops that you can use for fine arts. For example, we use a co-op for fine arts, and the kids go and they take all of their instruments there. So they do instruments and drama and chorus and things like that. But you just have to see what is it that you need. You don't want to just jump into an academic co-op and then that co-op really doesn't is not in line with your learning methodology, or maybe those subjects are really not something that you really need for your homeschool. You don't want to go waste a day of the week just to go there for socialization, because in reality, you don't socialize when you go to classes. You socialize when you make connections with people and when you talk to people and you make friendships with people. And you do that by doing what I told you. You want to have 1, 2, 3 homeschool families that you meet with on a monthly basis, where your kids are friends, when you do events and activities together, you do trips together, you do arts and crafts together. This way, you are really helping your kids socialize with the same kids every single month. Now, there are other things that you can do for your children to bring them out and to provide enrichment for them. So libraries, I'm known to be a library junkie, and I will get a calendar and I will write down all the things that are in my local community, all of the classes that libraries have. So I'll go from I go to the library in my town, but I also go to the neighboring towns. And there's so many library classes, from STEM to cooking to sewing to gardening, all types of classes for kids, and they're free. And so I get a little calendar and I write down all of the classes that I think my kids will like, and I ask them, do you want to go to this class? There's also Michael's arts and craft classes, which are like $2 per class. There's Home Depot classes, which are free. There's community events. Find out what's in your local community. There's museums that offer classes for homeschoolers. There's so much. So providing all of this is really for enrichment. When they go to these things, they may make a friend. But in reality, you make these friends with your own family, with your cousins, with maybe people at church, with the homeschool families that I talked to you about. You want to have 2 or 3 homeschool families that you make good friends with. That is key to your homeschool journey. You may want to have your kids participate in sports. There are certain states that you can participate in sports, and being a homeschooler, you can go play high school sports. There are some states that don't allow that. But either or, you could still join your community leagues and have your children participate in sports, if that's something that they're into. It's not something that's mandatory. You have to follow your children's interest. Moving on to the other questions that you have is, does my child need a high school diploma? Does my child get a high school diploma with homeschooling? A lot of people are concerned about that. That's something that I was concerned with when I first started. And yes, your child gets a high school diploma. You, as a parent, issue the high school diploma. So when your child gets to high school, you create a transcript for that child, and each course has a different number of credits, and you issue grades. And as part of their high school course, they can take dual enrollment credits in their local community colleges. And what this does is that it helps a child, for example, like if they're taking a science course for high school, they can take that science course at a community college, and it serves as a high school course and it serves as a college course. So by the time they're done with high school, they have a lot of courses, a lot of credits that they have under their belt, and it gives them a head start for college. If you want an accredited high school diploma, you can enroll in an umbrella school. And umbrella schools, they either meet physically, like once a week, or there are also virtual correspondence schools that you could be a part of, and you receive an accredited high school diploma. They provide a curriculum, and they provide the testing, and they provide everything that you need. They grade your work. The only downfall to that is that you can't target the curriculum to be a certain way. You have to follow their curriculum the way that they have it, because they are the school. And so you don't have the flexibility of having your own individualized curriculum for these types of schools. But I've never seen a problem with homeschool children getting into college. In fact, colleges a lot of times favor homeschoolers because they do so well in testing and they do so well overall. And so another way that you can have your child get a high school diploma is going through your community college. They offer these courses where the kids take a course and they take a test and they get their high school diploma, if that's something that you really want to have for your peace of mind. But you don't need it. You don't need it because you as a parent issue that diploma to the child. Let's move on to the other questions that you have. How do you teach multiple children? I have multiple children. I don't know how to teach all of them at the same time. You don't have to teach all of them at the same time. So what you do is you have your children and you work with them one at a time, doing rotations with them. While you're not working with the others, they're working on independent work, such as writing and spelling and reading, things that they can do on their own. If they're just too small to do things on their own, you have them play or do something else. And then you rotate in with each child and you do their core subjects, you grade their work, and you go successively child by child until they have finished their work. And I have made a video on our morning routine and how I do my rotations, and maybe you can get some ideas from that, and I'll link that video below in the description box. Standardized testing. Do I have to test my child? It all depends on your state. There are some states that require that you take standardized testing, but there are some others that have a relaxed approach to homeschooling and they don't require tests or evaluations. So you have to see what is it that your state requires. As your children get older, you may want to give them these standardized tests to see where they stand. This is sort of a way to assess your children, to see where they stand, and it's something that I plan to do when my kids get older. Virtual classes. So some of you ask, can I just have my child take virtual classes? And yes, you can. You can have, if you work and you can't homeschool your child, you can have your children take virtual classes where they could take all of their classes online. Absolutely. A lot of you ask me if you can homeschool and work. Yes, you can. Absolutely. All you need to do is have a set curriculum for that child and then have an overseer, like a grandparent or a caregiver. And then when you get back from work, you can grade that work. You can go over the work with the child. It is definitely doable. It just requires a lot of sacrifice and it requires a lot of organization on your part. I personally don't have my children do all of their classes online because I like being the teacher. I like interacting with the child. I like giving them hands-on things, bringing learning alive. But I do understand that there's a lot of you that are in different circumstances where you do need to have your children online. But also, you can outsource different subjects that you don't want to teach. For example, you can have your child take just science virtually or just math. For example, my third grader and my fifth grader are taking math online this year, and everything is online. The lectures are online, and everything they learn it online, and it's self-grading. And also, they use a notebook to write down all of their work, and then they put their answers into the computer, and everything is done on the computer. And it's a wonderful way. It takes weight off my shoulders, and children are able to work independently, which is a wonderful thing. So you can make your homeschool to be however you want it to be, depending on your needs and your circumstances. And so I think that is the bulk of the questions that I wanted to answer today. I don't want to make this video too long. Coming up, I have a video on how you can create an independent course study for children that are 8 and above or 7 and above. And I'm going to be talking about the independent curriculum that I have for my third and fifth grader, and how discovery learning and independent learning is crucial actually for the child's development. And I'm going to share with you what resources I'm using for our independent curriculum. So please stay tuned. I make videos about education for parents, teachers, for grandparents, and I have a lot of videos here on my website. Go ahead, feel free to scroll through and see all of the other videos. Please subscribe if you haven't done so, so that you don't ever miss a video. Also, subscribe to my email list, because when you subscribe to my email list, you receive the video directly to your email when I post it, so that you don't miss the video. I look forward to continue sharing with you on education, on homeschooling, and learning is something that I love and that I truly love sharing with you. If you want to leave a comment, please do so on my community tab here on YouTube. All right, so happy homeschooling. Welcome on board to this beautiful homeschooling journey. To all of you that are starting homeschool, I'm so excited for you. And I know that you are absolutely going to love this journey. Until the next time, bye-bye.